Okay, Dash Show Rose here, back with another video. Basically, it's Friday, which means I'm going to be reviewing another TV show. This time, it is Johnny Test. That's right, Johnny Test, a show hated by many critics. But how bad is the show, or if it's even bad at all, in my opinion? Well, let's find out. No, worth noting, when I was trying to find a picture for this, I actually had a hard time thinking. I didn't scroll through each episode, I just chose this one because I like Mr. Black and Mr. White. But I was thinking maybe I could do the theme song, the original theme song, with the all the bad villains and stuff on there, but I chose to do this instead. I was gonna do it with with one of these two wearing a dress. But yeah, I didn't end up doing that though. Anywho, this is Johnny Test. It was a show that I think came out in 2006 and aired all the way to 2013 or 14. It aired for 6 seasons, and ironically, this is the exact same day that the new show came out too. I actually wasn't planning it. I didn't know when the 16th was. I figured that out, I think, like 2 weeks ago when the 16th was, but I had this planned for this week. I didn't want to do this stuff last week because I wanted to keep a schedule of doing SpongeBob on Monday and Wednesdays and doing stuff like this on Friday. And last week, Daddy was home, so on Mondays, I didn't want to have him interrupt me. So yeah, but this is Johnny Test. This is actually I actually chose to do this on the DVD. I'll show you the DVD real quick. It's this DVD here. I got it at V-Stock. I had this DVD before, though. I had it before. Like, I had this a long time ago at my mother's house and in Tebbets. But she's moved so much, and I had other siblings, which, by the way, I do not like. I hate my siblings, but anywho, they tore up my DVD and stuff, so I lost it, and yeah, but yeah, basically though, this is Johnny Test. I already bought the DVD, so, but it has the original intro, which I will go ahead and talk about. This show has 2 different intros. Well, 2 different theme songs for the intros. It has several different intros, like 4 of them. It has the original one that played, I think I've heard from 2000, it played from, the first episode to the 5th one, and then they played, they made a new one for season 2, which is the current one they were using, and then it went all the way until until the 5th season. Then they changed it up with new images, and in the 6th season they added whip cracks up to it. Well, the 5th one they all had whip cracks to them, but they started adding them pretty badly in season 5 and 6 of the intros. So basically, season 6 is pretty much the same, except they added a little bit more whip cracks to it. So anywho, this is Johnny Test, though. This is the first season. I'm gonna go through each season of the show, and I'm gonna talk about some stuff about it. Season 1, though, is actually way different than the rest of the seasons. It's way different. I think Johnny, honestly, I think his voice sounds a bit different in the first season of the show. I could be wrong, but I thought I heard, someone talking about how, I forgot what the YouTuber was, but I think I remember him talking about how, Johnny, I think, had a different voice actor. I'm not sure. Johnny is basically more likable than the later seasons. I still like him, but they kind of dumbed his character down as the seasons went on. I don't really like that. Here he's actually a lot smarter, and the animation you can see it's a lot darker than the later seasons. And even the music is different too, because just like Teen Titans and some other shows where it's never the same music, it's always different. That's how this first season of the show was. They did have some songs that played through the episode, like the theme song played in a few of them, and then they had the Johnny X music, because it's different than the final version, which may not be the final version for long. But the music is a lot different here. It's a lot different. So, it's pretty interesting, though. Now, I think I should talk about the characters, too. Now, honestly, most of them have pretty much stayed the same. But like I said, Johnny Test is different. He's a lot smarter in the original show he's a lot different in the original show. Sorry, I had like a YouTuber pop up something about ranking the Mario Odyssey kingdoms. I don't know why. I don't know. It kind of distracted me. Anywho, Johnny is a bit different. Dookie is honestly a bit different too. But Dookie is a bit different too. He's more happy. It feels like in the later seasons he's more annoyed. But he's a lot more happy in the earlier seasons. But he's a lot different though. But Mr. Black and Mr. White though, they're actually my favorite characters of this entire show. Whenever they appear, they're just so hilarious. I really like them so much. Now, oddly enough, they're called Mr. Black and Mr. White. So you would think the black guy is Mr. Black and Mr. White is the white guy. But no, it's flip-flopped around. I'm not sure why they did that. I guess because of racism or something. I'm not sure. Honestly, I kind of would have preferred it like that. That would have made more sense. But you know how it is. I mean, we're living in a culture right now where people are fighting, and we may be in a war soon. So hopefully that never happens. But we can only cross our fingers. But But basically, I'm assuming their names got changed because of racism. And then there's Susan and Mary Test. Susan and Mary Test are honestly my least favorite characters of the entire show. A lot of people hate Johnny, and I have no idea why. I actually like Johnny. I don't completely like some episodes he is kind of bad, but most of the time he's pretty thoughtful. I mean, there's an episode where he takes the blame, like in season 6, of Bling Bling doing something wrong, but it was pretty thoughtful, and Johnny actually a lot of times saves the day and all that, and I mean he's pretty. I really like Johnny. He's a thoughtful kid. Sure, he hates school, but a lot of people hate school. I mean, you can kind of relate to him, sort of. School can be very stressful at times. But, basically, I hate Susan and Mary Test, though. Now, I didn't explain why. Here's why I hate them. Because they're snobs, they're snobs to their brother by locking him out of the lab. They always dump him in the pool, and all he wants is a favor from them. How would someone like it if I were to, I don't know, like use a spring and bounce them out of my house? You know, that's just rude. It's disrespectful. Yeah, I do not like him, and they're in every episode too. They're in every episode. Now there's another character I don't like as much too, which I'll talk about him in a second. But yeah, they're in every episode. Now in the first season, they're actually not in there as much. It focuses more on Johnny and Dookie because they're the main characters. But yeah, I don't really like him. But I also forgot to mention that this video is definitely going to be longer. So I know it's funny I'm mentioning at 10 minutes, but almost 11. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a longer video. So I forgot to mention that when I first started it. When I have a lot of stuff to cover, it's going to happen. So I practiced this yesterday, but I kind of forgot about it. I should have practiced it again. But it hurts my throat to do this. Anywho, okay, I talked about, Susan and Mary, but yeah, there are, but in the first season, they're not really in there as much. Now, another character I don't like is Johnny Test's dad, known as Hugh Test. He is known as Hugh Test. Hugh Test is basically, well, Hugh Test is basically, well, I don't really like Hugh Test either. They don't really mention his name until the first episode of season 5. But yeah, his name is Hugh Test. The reason why I don't like him, because all Johnny wants to do is have fun, but Hugh is like, is like a nag and is always, he's always forcing Johnny to do all this stuff. Like, why not just let your boy have fun? Like, why do you gotta force him to do all this stuff? There's even another episode, like in the later seasons, where they have gum, and he basically, well, because they got it all over him by accident, he's like, no more gun. No more gum. It's like saying if I spilt, like, I don't know, like, ice cream, if I spilt ice cream on the floor and someone slipped on it, I can no longer have ice cream because of an accident. Yeah, I really don't like Hugh Test, but he's not in the show that as much as the girls are. But yeah, I should also probably mention some other characters too. There is this old guy. He was in one episode, but after that he completely disappeared. It's like a baseball episode. However, you can see him in the background, even in the first season. But he no longer appears in there. And he no longer appears after that. So, yes, it's kind of, upsetting a little bit. I kind of liked him. He was kind of funny. Pretty smart old man, too. Most old men are crazy, but he's like smarter. Like a smart old man. Not a wise, but a smart one. And then there's another character that completely disappeared, too. Known as, Janet, which is Johnny's crush. I guess it's like maybe they got rid of her like SpongeBob, because SpongeBob had a bubble bath as a rival, but they didn't want the main character having a rival, so they got rid of it. Which could be like with Johnny. Maybe they didn't want Johnny to have a crush or something. I'm not sure. But she completely disappeared. She plays one role in season 2. Well, she doesn't talk in it, but she plays a role. You can see her like in this zombie tea party episode, and then she's completely gone. You never see her ever again. I should also talk about Sissy too. I actually don't like Sissy either. She's kind of a brat, honestly. She's always bugging Johnny and causing trouble with him. There's like a few episodes later down the road where she's like that. Now, in the first season, she's actually more of like a jerk. Kind of like Charlie Brown, like where they have like, I forgot what her name was. I think her name's Lucy or something. But she's like a jerk to Charlie Brown. That's kind of what Sissy is to Johnny. But yeah, I should probably talk about the villains too of the show. I'm not gonna probably list all of them because there's a lot of them. Most of them in season 1 only appear once and never appear again. But I'll talk about the ones that I will mention one of them though. There is the Moonies. They appear and Johnny got mooned, and they appear once and never ever appear again. Now the super smarty pants, they appear again, but not the Mooney. But yeah, not the Moonsies. But yeah, the super smarty pants for some reason they appear in season. They appear in season. They appear in season. They appear in season. Season 1, and then they come back. The pants are actually female. They're in love with she's in love with Johnny, but they call her the super smarty pants. But she appears in an episode in season 5, like way after like they revealed that she was gonna make another comeback because she turned back on in like the first episode. I'm not sure why the heck they did that for. It's weird. There's also a lot of inventions that don't make an appearance in the earlier seasons too, which I'll get to in a second. I want to finish talking about the villains. Yes, the villains. There's also Sizemore, or whatever his name is, the king of the mole people. He makes quite a few appearances after the first season. Not as much as like the Brain Freezer, who also makes multiple appearances after season 1. But they both make a ton of appearances. Also, Mr. Black and Mr. White, if you believe it or not, were also kind of villains at first too. They started out as villains. But yeah, they started out as villains, and then they eventually became like friends of Johnny. It's really funny too. Like it just snapped. Like one episode they're friends, and then the next episode they're not. Because they appear in, like, the Bling Bling episode, the Bling Bling episode is actually, the next episode. And they appear in that episode, but they appear right at the end, and they're not even enemies with Johnny anymore, so I don't know what happened. But you also see that Dookie's wearing a different outfit here compared to the later seasons, too. I don't know if he's... Well, in season 1, too, a lot of people know that he's a dog. Even Johnny states it. It's like he's not hidden as much. But season 2 and onward, they start making him... They start hiding him more, like, as a talking dog. Which I don't know why they did that. I kind of liked it this way. But I forgot to think about... I didn't think about that when I was practicing this, so it's a good thing I thought about it now. This picture helped me with that. I'm trying to think if there's any other things to talk about with season 1. I think I don't know if I missed anything, but I'm going to move on. So, I'm going to try to pause this and see what happens. If it stops the video, then I will make another part. I'll make it part 2, okay? Okay, I'm back. It took me a while to find a good picture for this, but here you go. This is we're on season 2 now. Of course, it doesn't say it on Netflix anymore. I don't have season 2 on DVD, so I had to X out of. I don't even have all of season 1. I'm actually missing some episodes, but season 2 is where the music and stuff starts changing. And Dookie's voice kind of, I guess, sounds different too, because I just watched this episode. But yeah, it sounds different. But yeah, but although most of the villains are gone in season 2, there are some that came in here, and I'm going to talk about them. Because I've already talked about the other stuff. I've also mentioned the theme song, so the theme song won't change until season 5, so I'm not going to mention it until season 5. But season 2 has Wakko. Yes, Wakko makes an appearance in the second season. He also appears a lot later too. I also forgot to mention too that each episode of Johnny Test has Johnny in the title. I don't know why they do that. I think it sounds cool to them, but for me, I don't like it as much. But anywho, I guess I could have done something else with this. I'll talk about that in a second too. But yeah, I'm talking about the villains first. Yeah, Johnny. Well, I mean, Johnny has a new villain called the they call him they call him the Wakko, so because he's like Wakko, but he basically hates children, so that's his theme. I also forgot to mention too Bling Bling, which I'll get to in a second too. Sorry, there's just so much to talk about. It's hard. But yeah, Wakko basically hates children. I guess he, for some reason, has a brother, because in season 5, he has a brother. Now, I'm gonna mention this too. His voice sounds a bit off, like in the later seasons, the last 2 seasons. Sometimes it'll sound deep, sometimes it will sound high. It's like back and forth. I'm not sure why that is, but I've noticed it. Like, I thought it was just his brother, or maybe they're trying to make his brother sound different when I first watched the episode, but when I saw Wakko, no, Wakko also has the same problem too. But there's also the Beekeeper. Yeah, the Beekeeper makes an appearance in that. Sorry, I have an itch. The Beekeeper makes an appearance in this season too. Sadly, I think after this season or the next one, I think he's gone. I think it's this season at least. I could be wrong. It's either because season 2, 3, and 4 are all similar to each other, so there's not really a lot to talk about. I think it's season 2. But the episodes that they introduce these villains in are all out of order. They're all out of order because what ends up happening is, like, the Beekeeper is already introduced. They have a jail episode where he's introduced in, but he really doesn't. They first don't meet the Beekeeper until the next episode, which honestly is kind of stupid. I don't know why that is, but it's out of order. I'm not really sure why. But it's kind of like this one villain I'll be talking about too. But yeah, the Beekeeper is definitely an interesting villain. Sadly, he disappeared from the show too. Now his deep voice thing lives on with another character I'll be talking about in the next season. But yeah, I'll be talking about it in the next season. But But yeah, basically though, the show also has an obsession of hating cats because the main characters torture cats in this show, which may be where a lot of the audience kind of left after season one, because I think in season one they didn't focus on this, but oh no wait no they did no there was an episode where Dookie uses fake foam with coffee, and so no they've been doing this forever. I'm really not sure why they've been doing this, but they have. But yeah, but basically they have an obsession with hating cats on the show. I'm guessing this is maybe the writers had issues with cats. I'm not sure. I have a cat too. I don't really like him, but I would never torture him either. I kind of wish that I don't have a cat, honestly, but I do. But yeah, basically though, that may be why too Mr. Mittens hates them. Like, well, hates them. Yeah. Mr. Mittens is another villain that's a cat. For some reason, he's purple, but he's a purple tomcat, I guess, is what Hugh Test talked about. He's got a butler named Albert, which is voiced by the same person who voices Johnny, voices both of them. Because that one guy, like, I forgot what his name was on YouTube, but he basically talked about the new Johnny Test show that was getting ready to come out. So yeah, but I don't remember his name. But yeah, this show has a weird obsession with hating cats. This show is also very similar to the Fairly Odd Parents too. It's got similar stuff. I mean, it's got similar plots. I mean, they repeat lines like the Fairly Odd Parents does. The main character hates school. I mean, I don't know, that's kind of similar. They also got a villain, which I'll be talking about too, that's similar to one in the Fairly Odd Parents. Anywho, the last thing I want to talk about with season 2, I think this may be it, I'm not sure, is the racing. The racing episodes are like the best of the show. They're so entertaining. They've got so many episodes of racing in them. They're all really interesting. Because they have all the villains come together and all the main characters. Now, they're not always all there, but a lot of times they are. I also forgot to mention that the General makes his first actual appearance in this season, too. In season 1, they talk about the General, and they do show him in the first episode. He has, like, a few lines. And we see him in the background in a meeting, and Johnny gets taken to work or whatever the episode's called, but we never really see him until season 2. Hopefully that's it. If it's not, I'll talk about more of it. I'll come back to it maybe later. Anywho, I'll see you guys in season 3. Bye. Okay. It's now time to look at season 3. I've already talked about season 1 and 2, now I'm talking about season 3. There's really not a lot to add, so this may be short. But this is the first appearance of Dark Vegan, which is like they're basically making fun of Darth Vader, because this show does that a lot of times. They even make fun of themselves at one point. But that's actually one of the things I forgot to mention, that this show also tries to reference stuff without actually saying a name, like saying, I've seen this somewhere before. Timmy Turner does the same thing on a few episodes of The Fairly Odd Parents, so, yeah. But if I also run out of video, if I think hits 3 minutes and 33 minutes and stuff it stops, I'll make this into a part 2. Anywho, yeah, this is season 3 though. But yeah, basically he's like Dark Laser, kind of, sort of, only he's like vegan. He also has an obsession with toast. Originally, he didn't have that, because there's a few episodes he appears in, like Johnny and the Scouts, and doesn't have an obsession with toast. I guess they did that to make him not too similar to Darth Vader. I don't know, though. I don't really see much of a similarity to it. I see his deep voice and his killing, like, destroying planets and stuff thing, but otherwise he's not really, he's not as much he's not a lot like Darth Vader. He's more like an actual character. Dark Laser on the Fairly Odd Parents has this Death Star thing, Death Ball thing that blows things up. But they both have swords like lightsabers, so I don't know. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. But there's not really a whole lot to talk about, honestly. So I may move on to probably I'm gonna move on to season 5 probably. I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's anything, because I'm about to hit the 33 mark and it's gonna stop my video. So I don't know. I don't know if it'll stop it or not, because it's done it before and hasn't stopped it. I don't think there's anything else to talk about though, really. So I may move on to season 5, because season 4 is pretty much the same thing. So I'll go on to season 5, and then season 6, and then that will be it. Oh, this thing's also at 15% too. I better hurry. I'll be back in a second. Okay. Back for season 5 and 6, and then I'll wrap this up. I also keep forgetting to mention Bling Bling. Bling Bling is an important character of this show, but I keep forgetting to talk about him. When I was practicing this, I didn't forget Bling Bling. But Bling Bling Boy is basically, he's in love with Susan and always tries to kidnap her and all that, and I think it was fine at first, but after 6 seasons, I kind of want to see Susan and Bling Bling fall in love with each other. I'm sick and tired of this trend.